Our daily coffee ritual is a pretty unique thing. Unlike almost every other food experience, we bring our own cup to the coffee shop. And if we don't, we often have to pay a fee to use a disposable one. You might liken it to bringing your own plate to a takeout restaurant. The reusable coffee cup has become so ubiquitous that you might even face a little guilt for not using one. Being green matters a little more in the coffee world. But only to a point, it seems. Take roasting, for example, a process that not only uses plenty of energy, but also releases volatile organic compounds into the air. Coffee roaster and cafe owner Jim Townley has been developing the next generation of coffee roaster for the past decade, something he calls the Roastaire. His model uses hot air to roast the beans. That's not so unusual. What's different here is that it captures that hot air, scrubs it of organic compounds, and then keeps using it, rather than constantly venting the hot air out into the environment.
There's a lot of things in coffee that shouldn't make it up into the environment. Most coffee roasters these days are running high-energy afterburners to manage their emissions. In Seattle, they're now being licensed. So if you want to roast coffee, you have to go through a process of testing every year to make sure that your chimney is running what they call within standards or clean. So obviously, if local government agencies are focused on that in other areas, that's soon going to make it to Canada.
Townley says his technology is up to 20 times more efficient than a conventional drum roaster, and it can be used in densely populated areas without creating that unwelcome smell for neighbors. That's often been a holdup for urban coffee roasters in the past, and many are relegated to industrial areas. Jim Townley wants to change that, and he hopes to see his new design in coffee shops and grocery stores across the country, roasting beans at the point of sale.
We want to go and show people that you can get into high-density urban areas, roast coffee, not offend your neighbors, and have really strong market opportunities to sell your beans.
Top it off, Townley says, with an interface that is controlled with nothing more than a computer and a mouse once the beans are sealed in that roasting chamber.
Okay, so Dad hits the load button on the computer, and now the beans are being drawn in.
As he points to numbers and graphs on the screen, he insists that anyone can learn to roast coffee in a matter of days, rather than months in the case of conventional roasters. The purely mathematical approach might sound like an asset, but the coffee world can be fickle, and a strong reliance on a certain black magic is a point of pride for those traditional coffee roasters. The months of training and the hands-on approach of traditional drum roasting may seem a bit old-fashioned, but to many producers, it's the only way to go. A nice notion, Townley says, but one that might be a bit out of date.
There's nothing wrong with relying on science. I mean, every industry evolves, and we're basically saying, let's move away from the 4-barrel carbureted pickup truck into an electric vehicle that doesn't take away that person's decision-making. It doesn't take away their focus on that end taste in the cup, which they can still focus on.
In recent weeks, Jim Townley has gained some high-profile support. Federal Green Party leader Elizabeth May stopped in to offer her stamp of approval. Next, Jim Townley says he'll have to convince the coffee community, a group that might not want to give up control of their hard-earned craft over to a computer. Then again, that might not be the market. In an age of automation, Jim Townley's eco-friendly roaster may be more at home in urban grocery stores and coffee chains where not every staff member is an expertly trained roaster, and virtually any staff member could roast coffee with the click of a mouse. For CBC Radio, I'm Khalil Akhtar.